It is June, and that means a lot of new Lego releases, including this set right here, the Lego Minifigure Vending Machine. This idea set retails for $180 and is described by Lego as being a retro-styled set, and you can certainly see that with the minifigs. Now, it just so happened that we were the most excited for this set in June compared to all the others, and we'll explain why, as well as break down the machine and its mechanism, all of these incredible minifigures, and whether or not it's really worth $180. That's right, in this independent review, we'll do all of that, so let's go ahead and dive in. The box isn't all that big, but the nostalgia oozes out from it, as you can see with the retro font and logo on the front of the box, along with the featured classic smiley spaceman minifig. The back shows additional minifigs built and standing outside of their round containers. Inside are 11 numbered bags, 2 unnumbered bags, and the instruction manual. There are no stickers, which didn't surprise me since only the 2x2 round coins could have been stickered, and fortunately they are crisply printed. The unnumbered bags, which by the way are my very first paper bags, contain the new large corner panels. I'm glad these weren't stored with the other small pieces, which could have scratched them during shipping. The instruction manual is what you normally see from Lego these days, a light background with new pieces and each step highlighted in red. There's also a brief section at the beginning that highlights the fan designer of this set. Unlike many recent manuals, I did not notice any faded colors for multiple pages at a time. As this is an idea set which usually comes with fairly complex building techniques and unique parts usage, as well as the fact that it has 1,343 pieces, it's next important to dive into the build of the vending machine itself, the pieces and techniques. With 11 bags and 16 minifigures, each bag comes with 1 or 2 of the minifig pods, which appear to be new dome pieces. There are axle holds on 2 sides, which allows you to connect 2 of them together fairly easily. While some of the minifigs and their accessories take up quite a bit of space, they all fit in these pods rather easily, although they may take a little finagling to get them to work. You get 16 clear domes, 8 in blue and 8 in yellow. The build is somewhat interesting. I have to be honest that it wasn't as engaging as other idea sets like the Medieval Blacksmith Shop, the Old Fishing Store, the Saturn V, or even the Viking Village, but it does have some really cool elements to it. I will also add that there wasn't a lot of repetition in this set, with the exception of these side panels right here, which weren't all that big and thus didn't take a whole lot of time to build. What jumped out to me was just how early the whole mechanism had to be planned out. You start with a tile base, but before too long, you're adding a small ramp built from these newish 6x1 slopes. The rounded elements inside are designed to ease the passage of the minifig pods from the glass section to the dispenser, and you can clearly tell this was a thoughtful build. The mechanism runs through the center of the set and connects to the gear at the front. I'm not a huge Technic fan, but I did appreciate the nuance and efficiency of the various components in this mechanism that allows you to spin the gear once for each minifig and return the coin to the coin slot. Even the snot work was pretty solid in this set. The sides are standard in terms of snot bricks and plates with tiles, but the connection point at the top, which holds the Technic axle in place, was creatively done using upside down building. The top is removed easily so that you can fill up the tank. The little round compartments fit smoothly into the machine, and really the only problem I had with these pods was that they are likely to roll around a lot, and so you gotta be careful that you keep an eye out on them. Once it's all done, you're ready to place the pods inside the vending machine. Then you insert the coin, turn the gear, and boom, you get a minifig. There is a coin return, so you never run out of coins and thus can purchase minifigs in perpetuity. The solitary play feature is rather unique, and it's kind of fun, at least for a few fleeting moments. I know with my kids, they enjoyed getting all 16 minifigs out of there, taking the pods apart, and building the minifigs. But of course, that only lasted for about 5 minutes, and that's kind of the reality of this set. It's the set that I could see you placing somewhere in a room where company gathers, and they might be intrigued by it as it reminds them of the gumball machines at the front of a hardware store, or something like that, and then they quickly move on to something else. This really really is, I think, more of a display piece than it is some sort of a play feature, and that makes sense given that it is an idea set and is rated at an 18+ age. In terms of pieces, you get a lot of red tiles and bow slopes, including 36 2x4 tiles and 17 2x6 tiles. There are also 110 bow slopes in red. The trans clear macaroni tiles are new, as is the printed coin. All told, there are definitely some quality pieces in this set. Lots of tiles, bricks, and other types of pieces that I think mockers will find useful. Now, the one that I am most excited for are these corner panels right here that are clear, that can be used as windows in modular buildings. I love modulars. I like building custom modulars. And in the previous mocks, we've had to use the 6x6x9 curved top panels, which are pretty rare and expensive. These will hopefully be cheaper as they'll be available on Bricklink and maybe even pick up and build online for a little bit of time. So here's hoping we can get more of these. Of course, for many people, the highlight of this set are the minifigs, of which you get 16. Now, this is functionally equivalent to a collectible minifig series drop, but I would argue this is more of the discount version. The reality is that these do lack a lot of the small details that we like to see in the CMF series, such as elite accessories for many of the figs and dual molded legs. There are also a lot of new torso prints here, which is nice, but they do lack some new face printings and hair pieces. Here is a quick musical montage of the minifigs so that you can check all of them out. Hopefully you found some minifigs that you really enjoy in that montage. Here's a little bit of my analysis for the ones that stand out to me. The Paradisa minifigs are really interesting with a tank top and a beachy Paradisa print on the front, as well as the number 92 printed on the back, which represents the first year the sub-theme appeared. I really like the female pirate. This is actually Kiara's favorite minifig in the set, my oldest daughter, because she loves the torso printing, the cool yellow hair piece, which is still relatively rare as it's only appeared in 2 other sets. One of the sneaky good minifigs in this set is the Ideas minifig. Now, the initial release images didn't show the back of the torso, which has some wonderful printing on the back with the Ideas logo and Lego Ideas printed at the very bottom. I really enjoyed the 2 Fabuland minifigs as the torso printing is crisp and the font evokes nostalgia for the 1980s and some of the sets I had when I was a kid. The costume pieces, though, are a very nice call out to 2 of the Fabuland characters from the 1980s. The space minifigs are suitably classic. They have the old style helmets, the air tanks, the smiley faces, and the classic space logo. I like the teal versions or the turquoise versions, but the pearl gold duo are beautifully shiny. Now, my favorite accessory by far are the 2 Hylian shields we get for the Griffin Knights. These are gorgeous with gold trim, a dark red background, and the Griffin printed on them. I don't see any bleed through on the shield, which is a good sign and shows that it's a high quality print. The torsos are solid, the chainmail is a nice print, and I really appreciate the leg printing, but I have to say those shields are epic. My favorite minifig torsos are the 2 new Kraken Knights, which have the Kraken logo featured prominently on the front of the torsos. Now, I personally like the teal, light green, and reddish brown combination, although I can see some fans finding it a bit too dark. The round shields are my second favorite accessory in the set, with the large Kraken exquisitely printed on the front. With so many really good to great minifigs, you're bound to find a couple that you personally like. Of course, that does bring up a bit of a trade-off that we're about to unpack in the recommendation and rating section of this independent review. One of the biggest questions that I have in seeing this from the leaked images to the announcement to seeing it built in the Lego store to building it myself is whether or not this really is a set that I can recommend people get for $180 or even recommend at all. I think it's interesting that this set does have a lot of support. It's a very creative idea. It certainly achieved the 10,000 votes on ideas to get it into the possibility of being produced as a Lego set. And of course, Lego saw some value in producing this particular set. I also think that Lego did a fantastic job of hyping up this set by having different votes on the minifigs and then coming out and giving us 2 brand new Spaceman figure colors as well as 2 new Lego Castle factions. I think that's a very, very strong element to this set. But of course, the problem is you're really talking about 8 out of the 16 minifigs for a $180 set. And while this chunk of the set, the vending machine, is the bulk of the pieces, it really is a lot of fun to build in some aspects. It may feel a bit like an afterthought. As I mentioned earlier in the build and pieces section of the review, it's not as engaging as other idea sets or even other icon set. I think that's a little bit of a negative for this particular set. Also, I think that it's interesting that, a lot of people are going to be interested in picking up some of these minifigures, but there's really no need to spend $180 to get all of these minifigs if you're really only interested in a handful of them. Now, at this point in time, in looking at the secondary market for these minifigs, the Castle and the Space minifigs are running about $22 to $23. That's a pretty hefty fee for them, plus shipping, but I would imagine that these prices will go down as more people get this set and the market becomes a little bit more saturated with the minifigs. Of course, in terms of recommending the set, I also would have to say, wait if you want to get these minifigs, not only because the price can go down, but there's a chance that Lego, especially for the Castle minifigs, is going to release more of them in the future. Now, again, I don't have insider knowledge on this, but I think you have to contemplate the possibility that Lego puts out an Icons Castle set in 2026 that would include these new factions, or might even make these minifig torsos and legs available on Pick and Build online. That in and of itself is enough for me to say, don't go out and get this set at this moment in time. But if you do really like idea sets, if you like this vending machine, if you think it's a really cool display piece, which it really is, it looks very good on display, I would say wait for at least double insiders points and a GWP that really matches well with what you enjoy, or even wait for it to go on sale. I think this set, like most idea sets, will be available for about 12 to 18 months, if not 2 years, depending on how well it sells, which will give you ample time to find the right deal for you. Now, you may be wondering why we got this set on day one. Well, it does come with having a YouTube channel where you try to strike while the iron is hot, but also I have some ideas for customizing these Castle minifigs, adding some different accessories and helmet pieces and things like that to make them look pretty cool. Also, I think it's appropriate to maybe build them some keeps or some little outposts for their faction. So those are things that we're going to be trying to do over the next month or so, as we have a little bit more free time during the summer. In terms of my overall rating, I would give the minifigs a 9 out of 10. It's not quite as high as an entire CMF series might get, but there are some elite minifigs in this collection. The vending machine, I would give probably a 7 out of 10. It's not a great build, but it is very, very nice. It does have a lot of very good pieces, but it's not as engaging as other sets in that line. Finally, considering the price of $180, I'm going to give the overall set a 7 out of 10. It's one that I think is very good, but it's not an elite set that I would give a 9 out of 10 or even a 10 out of 10 for, which we do in rare circumstances. I hope you enjoyed this review of the Minifig Vending Machine. Thanks for watching, and always remember to keep building together.